here again with my friend and fellow co-coach Alison Keller. Good morning, Alison.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Oh, I've got my wee
We've
dog
got
down here.
Bella joining us again.
Bless her. How sweet. Alison's dog's just turned 4, so we're getting free licks all morning. Hey, darling. We videoed last week, and there was a connection there with psychological safety, and we're just curious to explore psychological safety this morning in this short conversation, nesting psychological safety to a couple of other topic areas in team coaching. So, Alison, psychological safety, what would be your take or even a definition of that?
I don't have a definition. I guess for me, in the team coaching space, psychological safety is again another area for dialing up and spending quite a bit of time. That's what I've appreciated, is it's not something you can rush. It takes teams time to build that trust and that safety. Even teams that are already feeling comfortable and connected in a safe way,
Yeah.
they have to keep working at that and
Yeah.
not take it as a given. So it's on the radar, and I guess it's really important for teams to acknowledge it and assess it, get some benchmarking, some feedback around it, and if it's really in a good place and it's in a good foundation, so much more can happen from there. I guess the definition's not coming to me, but more the importance and the investment for a team to notice and start there really before the journey takes more layers.
Yeah. I noticed in our training there's actually a questionnaire, isn't there?
There is.
A quantitative approach to psychological safety, which we can use if we sense that the energy is perhaps a bit, just tells us that this might be a useful barometer for psych safety. We can deploy that.
We can, and I guess on that diagnostic, I've experimented a little bit with that one, and I've found that doing it a little bit later, after the journey's taken off and there's a bit more time spent in getting to know each other, and just really investing in being together and understanding even the roles that each of the team have and talking about it and sharing a little bit more. It takes a wee while before teams might be comfortable to do that diagnostic, because it's quite confronting for teams to do it. So I've hesitated from doing it right at the start until I feel they're ready and they're really keen to know what feedback they might get from that.
Is there an angle there, do you think, on if you deploy it too early, you might get falsified data and say, oh, we're all happy, we're all safe, everything's fine, as opposed to having 1 or 2 sessions, and then once they get to know you and build trust, they'll be more open and honest?
Yes, I think it's that open and honest, and they're a little bit more guarded and unsure. How is this data going to be used, and do I really want to share what's on my mind at this point? How do I know it's going to be safe to do that? So that's my experience really, in not going in too boldly, but taking that time to then know when is the moment, using a lot of sensing around that and preparation for the team. And then I think it's proved very valuable for them. They're keen to then measure again later on and use the diagnostic more than once.
Certainly for my coach education, it was a newish area of education for myself, being a solo coach for many years. So I've been training and team coaching. It's, I guess, a bit of an epiphany really to be conscious of safety at all times.
Very much.
And I guess also we talk about discomfort and shift and growth. And do you think there's a balance there sometimes between being safe or maybe even conservative, if you like, and then, hey team, we're going to have to push through here and do some mirror work or do some honest self-evaluation? Do you think there's a bit of a balance there?
I think when the safety's there and the trust is there, you're more likely to get the robust debate. And you've got people then that will lean into providing constructive feedback more comfortably, and I guess not taking things personally. So I think that's where the dial goes up, and that debate and healthy conflict is more likely to be present in a genuine way, I think, as well, because it can show up sometimes with teams when it's not as safe and it's not as genuine the way that it might be handled. But teams can enjoy that when they've got the trust and they've got the respect for each other and they understand it's coming from a good place.
Yeah. And also I think it's the liberation of the truth, isn't it? Really.
It is.
If you're feeling uncomfortable, you have done for 6-12 months in a team, for whatever dynamical reason, if you build that framework of trust and authenticity, it's quite liberating.
It's very liberating when teams are kind of enjoying each other's company. And want to be together and want to learn together and grow together and support each other. It's very exciting when you get those kind of shifts.
Have you had any experience, Alison, as say a team leader who might have a wee blind spot around safety, and maybe after 2 or 3 sessions, you come to the opportunity to create insights in the team leader that actually some of the team aren't that comfortable with your language or your behaviour? Have you ever had an experience like that?
Yeah, I've found that sometimes it's the team leader that might be the challenge for the team, in that they've got some of the control or the power, and they're not trying to manifest that, but they are in the way a little bit for the team to truly feel comfortable to share and be honest in that context, because they're a bit worried if they speak up, will the team leader not respect them or take away some of their autonomy? And so I think sometimes the blind spot is that the team leader hasn't necessarily picked up that vibe or noticed that that's happening. And when you can break that down, it makes all the difference for the team leader and the team, that they're aligned and on the journey together. So that's what I've found. How about yourself?
Well, I was just going to add to that about with team coaching and the development and the more saturation of team coaching in the marketplace, the challenge of traditional hierarchical command and control leadership, where it's even sometimes dictatorial. It's kind of old school hierarchical. I think that's a really positive aspect of team coaching, have the team leader in the ring and in the room.
Yes.
To once safety is established. To perhaps question that old school. It still happens today, doesn't it? Command and control style leadership. But just to have that leader build their self-awareness.
Yeah, if I actually link it back to one of our conversations in the last time we caught up, expectations of each other, I think that's the other layer where trust kind of takes another shift. When the team leader is sharing expectations of the team and the team is sharing their expectations of the team leader, it's a really powerful conversation then for a team to have, because they're able to kind of meet each other's needs, or again work through some of the expectations that might not be aligned with each other. And that can be a great shift. So that helps with that psychological safety.
Occasionally over the years I've asked the 3 questions in a mini 360 sense of in and around the team of what you appreciate about me, what are your needs from me as a leader, and then what can I do better. So those real 3 simple questions.
Great questions,
because often, and we were talking before we hit record about the link between coach supervision and psychological safety. What do you think the benefits of supervision in the context of psychological safety is?
Well, for 2 people doing the coaching, if we were working in a scenario together, that supervision is ensuring that we're doing our own work with feedback being part of it, that we can give each other feedback, we can unpack sessions, so we're not carrying biases in, and the safety as well for us to be able to be demonstrating self as an instrument when we're in the room, role modelling together. We're unlikely to be able to do that as well unless we're doing supervision with each other, but also supervision which might be with a supervisor on a one-on-one basis, because at times you want to have that as well, that layer. And you might also have group supervision with people that are outside of our context, so that lots of perspective. You're getting the chance to really unpack and notice many layers, so that you're really, I guess, taking a lot of the content appropriately forward.
I was reading David Clutterbuck's one of his texts literally last night, funnily enough, about the 7 Eyes model with coach, client, supervisor, and the complex interdynamics of the relationship, and the manifestation of that complexity is quite an education. Okay, and we talked again about coach maturity. What do you think the link is there between being actively engaged in supervision and maturing as a coach? How do you see the link there?
I think that's, again, the self-awareness. So with the supervision, we're really making sure we're doing our own work. And unless we're doing our own work, then we're not going to notice the blind spots. We want to be able to make sure that we're at our best as well. So coach maturity, we've got to be on that journey, evolving, learning, growing, challenging each other, and I think as well, being able to be present with the team, that means you're tuned into wherever they are, and you're not thinking of your tools, you're not thinking of models in the same way, you're really just noticing what it is that's in front of you to draw out of your toolkit in the moment, what makes sense, and being fully present, being actively listening, and being confident and calm. And I guess bringing all that good stuff into the room as part of maturing as a coach, I think.
Certainly it takes years of practice, doesn't it? And
never stop.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think team coaching is fabulous, because there's so much complexity that's there, that there's never a dull moment, and it's not easy to navigate some of the challenges there, so you really have to be heightened in the moment.
I had an experience last week of a one-on-one client who basically said, I don't want to pay for coaching anymore, and a few years ago I said, you got to carry on coaching, and get all sort of uppity, and I thought, and maybe this was a symbol of my progress in coaching maturity, is actually just being calm and going back to questioning that individual. And I asked them 4 questions, open questions, and unattached to whether we continued or didn't continue. And it was more so the decision you make is the right decision for you. So my opportunity was to ask just good questions to garner their own insights into themselves and their development. As you say, coach maturity never ends, does it?
No, and I think that's one of the powerful tools or approaches, I guess, for us as coaches, is reflection. And so it's a lovely gift that we can always give to each other and our clients. It's that reflection, and let them come to their own answers. So that I hear that in the way that I guess you had that conversation with that leader. Yeah,
it's interesting to say reflection, because with this particular client, I did a little bit of a review and reflect piece. It was just a one-pager. And it was quite curious. I asked her, communication between us, do you feel it's about right, excessive, or insufficient? And with my read of our relationship, I thought it was about right, but he thought it was excessive, which was really interesting.
Very interesting feedback. Yeah,
it was, wasn't it? I thought, wow. We see each other every 2 weeks for about 60 minutes, and I have the occasional text correspondence. Okay, I think we'll leave it there for this.
Let's do that.
Short conversation. Hope you took something away from that today, and we'll catch you next time.